What's up, everybody? How we doing? We're doing good.
I'm sure that all of that air guitar fretting was absolutely accurate. 100%.
Of course it is. I think I'm just going to keep the music going in the background. What do you think if it just plays lightly? What do you think?
No, I don't like it. It's distracting.
Too distracting? Fine.
And plus, I'm sick of that song.
I will shut it down, and I'll start playing a dance song to make Eric happy.
Did you know that I wrote that song?
I didn't want to mention it because it makes you look good, but... These are royalty-free songs that YouTube will not ding us for, so that's what they are.
We'll take it
anyway. So welcome. While Eric tries to watch the Rangers and Pens game
in
the background.
I swear, I need blinders like a horse.
You'll have your chances. You'll have your chances to sneak in. All right, folks. Welcome to the show. This is the Dekes and Vacca show. For those that normally tune into my channel, welcome back. Thanks for checking out this full version of the show where we talk about other teams other than the Montreal Canadiens, much to the delight of some. And I got this vintage Mario Lemieux jersey on today, which is awesome. And I have to give it back very, very soon. So I'm enjoying it while I have
one of those too.
Of course you do. You're a diehard fan. I know. I'm not a huge fan of the yellow, but I thought, why not? Because why not? So tonight, folks, we are going to talk about the NHL bracket challenge. Now, this is coming in a little bit late because you had to have your bracket in before yesterday, but we got our brackets done. And Eric and we're going to have a special guest joining us in a moment. From you folks who watch Habs Tonight, you will recognize him. Introduce him in just a second. But NHL playoff brackets. So we're going to show you the three of our brackets that we chose, the teams that we feel are going to advance to the Stanley Cup final. And before they get there, the teams that they're going to have to leap in order to do that. So let's bring in Damen first so we can really kick things off. So Damenator, what's happening, buddy? Welcome.
How you guys doing?
Good to have you here, man.
Thank you.
We are wonderful now that you're here. That's where we are.
How do you say that last name?
So true. It's a Greek name, but it's so true. Yeah.
I was gonna say it sounds Greek.
Yeah, love that very Greek. My family.
So true. This is.
Yeah.
I never really realized
Slovaki.
I never really. My wife's favorite restaurant, like literally favorite restaurant, is this little Greek place in St. Catharines, George's. It's called, and man, it's so good. You're right. And credit to you for that, Damen, because hey, man, your name. I just realized that we could actually say it. So true. This. I don't know. Sure, I'm saying it wrong. I'm an idiot. Okay.
No, don't worry. You're saying it right.
Opa.
I'm trying too hard.
We're going to have our Greek festival soon, so a lot of plate breaking and Zorba dancing.
Let's go. We're just trying to fit in with you. Okay, so NHL playoff brackets. Who do you got, gentlemen? So I'm going to kick this off. I'm going to go to Eric's bracket first, and I don't know why, but that's what I'm going to decide on doing.
Because it's the most ludicrous?
It's the most faithful for someone.
To be fair, a lot of this is with my heart, but there is some thought behind it too.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to let you explain it, but Eric, here's your bracket first, and look who you have as the Stanley Cup champions. You son of a gun.
Oh, did I click? Oh, that must have been a misclick. Oh.
You know what? When you zoom into a full screen, Eric, this is actually a lot clearer. You can see it a lot better because Eric had some trouble with screenshotting, I guess.
I must not have been able to see when I was picking the teams.
I can't disagree with you there.
No, actually, I'm very comfortable with all my picks, actually.
Okay, so let's start with this then. So you got, obviously you got the Leafs coming out. Now, how many games do you have the Leafs taking Tampa in? I can't make it out. It's 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You have Boston in 7 over Carolina. You have, you have the Rangers in 6 over the Pittsburgh Penguins, who I'm currently representing tonight. You have the Florida Panthers in 5 over the Caps.
Yes.
And that's it for the East. And then over in the West, you've got the Colorado Avalanche in 5. You've got St. Louis in 7. That's going to be a heck of a series.
Yeah.
Calgary in 6 over Dallas. You've got Edmonton in 6 over the LA Kings. So that's your first round matchup. So I don't know where you want to take it from there, but we'll keep going back to it just so we can reference it a little bit here.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go through and explain we should probably just go through the series one at a time.
Yes.
Discuss them all, with all your guys. brackets. Show them all first, and then
fair enough.
Then we'll argue about them after that.
Yes, we will. We will
one
fight.
series at a time. It'll be more fun that way.
We will fight to the death. Okay, so this is mine, and
your tiebreaker answer is the same as mine.
It is, because 36 is the exact number that it's going to be in Stanley Cup final. That's how many goals are going to be scored, no matter what. So yeah, I got Florida in 6. I've got the Leafs in 7 as well. I took the Leafs in 7 last year. I was one of the there was one of us out of the whole Habs Tonight team. Only one of us picked the Habs to win in 7, and same with Sportsnet. Actually, Sportsnet picked nobody. Nobody picked the Habs.
Was it you, Damon?
I wasn't there at the time, but I was watching for sure. I'll tell you this. I had the Habs winning the series if Dom finally put in the kids, and finally he put in the kids and magic happened. But yeah, the one thing that I will never forget from that series wasn't exactly what happened on the ice. My favorite thing from that series was urinating trees video that came right after.
What was that?
Oh, he's one of the funniest sports YouTubers. He does crazy sports rants about different teams. He does about baseball. He does somewhat about soccer, a lot about hockey. He has called out the Philadelphia Flyers a lot, as I'm sure we know. We are not Philadelphia Flyers fans.
Mm-hmm.
And he's called out. He made a 45-minute video about Toronto. Sorry, Eric. I don't know if you've seen the video, but if we don't want you to experience any pain, do not watch that video if you don't want to experience any pain.
But I've been a Toronto Maple Leafs fan for almost 40 years. I've experienced all the pain that I'm well sensitized to it.
Okay, it's a 45-minute video, so pretty much 1 minute for each year you've been a Leafs fan, or just over a minute.
It's about their failures, isn't it? It's kind of like come on, that's a lot of time to spend on the team. Anyway, that's just my opinion, but
there's a funny video called the Leafs 50 years of failure or whatever, where it goes through.
That's what I thought
season.
it was.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
It's mainly
just goes year by year.
Yeah, it goes year by year, and it talks a lot about Harold Ballard and the Carlton cash box and all of the mismanagement.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's terrible.
All right, so back to my bracket. That's actually Damon's. Hang on a second, I'm flipping around here. Okay, so we have. I already said the Leafs in 7. I took Boston in 7. I think that is not looking that great right now with Carolina up 2, but I mean it's the Boston Bruins. I mean they know how to dig deep, and once they get a home ice, who knows what can happen. The Rangers in 6. That looks pretty good right now. I think they're tied. Series is tied. So at the time of this recording, I mean this could get dated very quickly, but yeah, just going through this here, and then let's look at Damon's, because we haven't done that yet. So Damon's got, like me, the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup, going to beat out the Colorado Avalanche. Oh no, you have the Colorado Avalanche. Sorry, I read that wrong. So that's an interesting one itself too. Okay, so you have Florida in 6. You've got Tampa Bay in 5, so they have to win the next 3 straight. Yeah, in order for that to be true.
They're going to have matchup control for the next 2 games.
That's very doable.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, I don't know. I think Toronto's going to get at least one more, or if not more. And then you've got Carolina in 6, which does look good right now. You have I can't make out your Rangers pick, but it's the Rangers.
Yeah.
You have them. Oh, you have them in how many games, though? I can't seem to see that for some reason.
Let me see if I can just pull it up quickly. Yeah, I have them in 7, actually. It's actually one of my few 7-game series.
Okay. All right. So that's what you got. Okay. Well, then based on that, gentlemen, let's talk about these series. So, I mean, going back to Eric's bracket for a second here, you got the Leafs, you got Panthers. I don't really hate your picks. Like I got to be honest, but I just think my perspective on the Leafs right now, if they do make it through and kill that demon and get to the second round, is that they're going to be so worn out from having beaten the Tampa Bay Lightning, if they do, that by the time they get to Florida, it won't be because Florida's maybe even necessarily the better team in the series, but I just think the Leafs could run out of gas if they actually get to Florida.
I highly doubt that. And I'll tell you why, because they haven't won a series in 15 years or more.
Yeah. So you don't think they'll just be riding the adrenaline and the high of?
Yeah, I think that if they win that series, like my entire bracket hinges on them winning that series 100%. And I think that if they do win that series, the town will be lit up. They'll have all the energy in their legs. they'll have the monkey off their back and they can just cruise along. And I think, honestly, Florida will be more worn out trying to beat Washington than Toronto would be coming out of the Tampa series.
Well, based on game 1 and 2, though, I don't know about that because, I mean, Tampa and Toronto are just – it's only been 2 games and it's already kind of a war.
Oh, it's going to be a tough series. They're going to be beaten and bruised. Don't get me wrong. But trust me, if you go through as many seasons of failure as they have and you get that monkey off your back, I think that Toronto matches up well against both Tampa and Florida because it's fast, high-scoring, end-to-end teams. They don't match up well against heavy teams like Boston and the way Carolina's playing right now, or Washington. They wouldn't have matched up well against them either. So I think that it actually plays into their game, and I really don't trust Bobrovsky on a long playoff run.
Okay.
I feel like the Leafs have, they've scored on him before and they can do it again. And, if Campbell can hold his own and put together some good games, I don't see how they would have any problem with Florida after getting through Tampa. That's just my take on it, but the whole thing hinges on Tampa, and they could very easily lose to Tampa. I think it's a 50-50 guess on that series, really.
Yeah. So you figure what they come out of game 1. Again, Toronto was riding the high of, I think, having the home crowd. I think that really played in their favor, and they used it. And that's what every team does in the playoffs. Like, it's just an energy that's not comparable to the regular season. Like, it's just not. So, why did Tampa come out so flat, you think, in the first? Did they come out flat, or is it just the penalties got to them? What was the story there?
In game 1, you mean?
Game 1, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think that they took Toronto very seriously from the get-go. And also he was very, the whole team's mindset is that, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So they didn't, and Toronto's idea is that it's a sprint, right? Because they absolutely have to win a series. So they're putting all of their effort into every single possible first round game as hard as they possibly can. And Tampa sort of got on their heels early, and when the game started to get away from them, they just thought, yeah, it's fine. You know what I mean? We'll just let it go. And there was some shenanigans at the end or whatever, but I think that as far as Toronto goes, they got a taste of their own medicine last night. Then again, you can say what you want about officiating or whatever, but if you don't take 7 penalties and they score 3 power play goals, then you win that game 3-2, right? So it could easily be 2-0 Toronto right now if they had kept out of the box. I don't think that, like, Tampa, they have a strategy right now of saying, whatever, it's one game. There's a long series. It's a marathon, and we think we'll be able to come out on top, over the course of, this many games or whatever. And they know, because they've gone on 2 long playoff runs now, they know what it takes to make those long playoff runs. So they kind of let it roll off their backs. And you could tell by John Cooper's comments after the game, it was the same mentality that, when Kucherov after the Montreal series last year, when he gets on and does his presser and he's like, oh yeah, they thought they won the Stanley Cup after 1 game, you got to play the whole thing and whatever. So that's their mentality. That's their mindset. And that's what they're going to keep rolling with. It kind of takes the pressure off them to perform at a super high level every single game. If you just keep reminding your team, you're the best, you're the defending champions, you've won 2 years in a row. Just let's play the long game, and if a game gets away from us, oh well, we'll come back even stronger the next game. And it worked well to their favor because it frustrated Toronto last night and it made them take all those bad penalties. Now the question is can Keefe calm down his guys and say, look, you're better than this team, step it up a notch and stay out of the penalty box, play a good, clean, smart defensive game, and we can beat them. But it'll be a tougher road. I don't think you'll see much more 5-goal games between the two of them. You'll probably see a lot more 1 and 2 goal games. So, yeah,
it's going to be closer. It's going to get closer, right? I mean, that's what I think. Things are going to tighten up, right? So we're looking back at this is Damon's bracket actually here. So Damon, you have a very different take on this series. You have a very, very different take. So you have Tampa just steamrolling the Leafs the rest of the way. Is that a biased view, or is that actually genuinely what you think is going to happen here?
I genuinely like it's a bit. I'm gonna be honest here. It's a bit of both. I'll say that because Montreal didn't last very long with Tampa in the Cup Finals, and I don't know that Toronto has the exact depth that Montreal had to last that long with Tampa. And the key is kind of here is the matchups, as I'm sure we know. Once Cooper is in control of the matchups, he literally dominated. He was a big reason why we lost in the Cup Finals. And as I'm sure we know here with the matchups at Tampa Bay, of course, their fourth line, in my opinion, is one of the best in the league, where they have Belmar, Maroon, and Perry. That's literally a playoff fourth line. That's the perfect fourth line you want to have. And also, the thing is with Tampa, is they're a playoff proven team. They play playoff hockey. And also, as I'm sure we knew about what Keith said, and also watching Tampa in the playoffs, they've been so borderline violent, and they've gotten away with it a lot. And they play really physical. And if the key is if they can shut down Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, which they've been putting up goals and points so far, and Marner's looked really good so far, especially. But I don't know how good he's going to look, depending on who Cooper wants to match him up against. If he wants to match up the top line versus the top line, that's probably going to force the Leafs to play defense more often than not. And it's definitely going to be, in my opinion, a very tough, borderline violent series. But I don't think that Toronto has what it takes to win a series in 7 games against Tampa. But in my opinion, Tampa's more bred for the playoffs than Toronto is.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of hard to, but it's a perfect test for Toronto, though. That's the thing. Like, it's the perfect time to say, okay, like, let's give you. I mean, if you beat Tampa at this point, like Eric said, like, I understand the momentum that should come from that. That if that happens, I mean, the Leafs really do have a really good chance to do something. But I mean, it's always such a question mark. It's always so wait and see, because until you get to those big moments again, we just don't know. I mean, this is a different Toronto team than last year, and I think anything's possible. This series is a hard one to call, but I think it's a really good matchup. I really like that they're going at it right away, first round. Like, just let's start the playoffs off with a bang, and I think that this series is doing that.
I'll tell you what's different. The Leafs this year, the mindset is much different than it was in years past. So in every year leading up to this, I mean, I watch every Leaf game, and I could see that the mindset was, we're more skilled than this team that we're playing, and we'll just outscore them, and it won't be an issue. And they didn't come in playoff mindset ready. This year, they're in the right mindset. They know that it takes more than just you can't win on talent alone. And if you watch like Matthews last night, even in a game where he's losing, he's a beast. The plays that he made along the wall, and like just throwing his body around and back checking and everything that he needed to do to lead that team. I mean, the worst thing that's right now is that Tavares is completely invisible. He hasn't done anything but give it away in the first 2 games. So he needs to get going. If he's going to be the captain of this team, like, honestly, if the Leafs make any kind of run here and Tavares doesn't step it up, and Matthews keeps playing the way he's playing, I can't see how you can keep Tavares as the captain of the team over Matthews. I mean, Matthews is already proving that he's far and away a better leader than Tavares. So that aside, I mean, he didn't get a chance to play in last year's playoffs because of the injury, but he needs to step it up, and he needs to show that he's the leader of the team, because I haven't seen it yet. That's the big X factor here.
Yeah, I think Tavares will. I have a hard time seeing him not getting it going. Maybe it just takes him being on the road or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know what it's going to take, but I know that he's going to want to contribute in some way. And if that means not even piling up a ton of points, like, you got to find a way to get in there somehow. Like, he's a smart enough player. He's the little thing king. He does so many little things well in the regular season that him not being able to help his teammates last year going down in game 1 against Montreal was such a huge blow to them, and they almost did it without him. And a lot of fans argued they would have done it with him, but it remains to be seen. I mean, we've talked about Toronto quite a bit. There's Bill Daly for you. That was a random shot, but this is what Montreal fans have to look forward to. That's why this is here.
Yeah. The guy looks like a Bond villain, to be honest.
He does.
A Bond villain, yeah. This is back to my bracket, but let's shift gears here. We've talked quite a bit about the East. Let's talk about the West. So let's look at who we have coming out of the West for you guys. So Damon's got Calgary here. Eric has, no, this is me actually. I have Calgary as well. And then look, Eric has Calgary too. So I think we all see where the West is going in terms of who's going to come out of it. But let's talk about the journey to get there. So the Colorado Avalanche continue to be, to me, like one of the most interesting teams in terms of expectations, because every year lately, the last few years, people expect them to go to the Cup, and I just don't see it. I know they have the talent, but like goaltending for me is still an issue. I know offensively, on like, you got your Cale Makars and what have you, but something is just missing there. Is it definitely goaltending for you guys, or what do you guys make of that team?
Go ahead, Damon. You go first.
Okay.
I just
for
talked
me,
for a long
I'm just
time.
going to pull them up here on my little tablet. I have sort of mock lines for the playoffs, and here's what I've always felt was missing now, which is finally here: playoff players. The thing is, as I'm sure we know, Colorado didn't really make many acquisitions to get playoff type players, and now they finally do with Andrew Cogliano, Arturi Lehkonen, of course.
Lecky.
We're gonna miss you, Lecky, and
he's on my wall, like right over here.
Yeah. We won't forget about that iconic moment from our trade deadline video with Nick finding out he got traded.
Jars of tears. Of tears.
Yeah, full jars. And then also Josh Manson. I think that this time they added actual playoff depth, and also those guys, Lekin and Cogliano, are forwards who are much more responsible defensively, and you need to have good players who are responsible defensively in the playoffs, and also Josh Manson, who's a monster on the back end. And also Kemper, in my opinion, it's going to be kind of a hot. Like, I think he's a top 10 goalie in the NHL when he's on the game, but on his game, I should say. But he needs to develop more consistency. And also part of the reason why I have this in 5, this series particularly, is because UC Saros is out of the. I don't know if it's going to be the full playoffs, but it looks like he's missing the first 2 games. And now they're going to Connor Ingram for game 2 in Nashville. So that's going to be an interesting one, but I think Colorado finally has the playoff players, similar to what Tampa Bay did in 2020 and 2021 with Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow in them. So that's the way I see it at the moment. I see that Colorado's finally making those playoff players, acquisitions, I should say, and I think that it'll help them go all the way to the Cup, or if not, go deep.
Right. Okay. Another team I want to know, Eric, did you want to jump in on Colorado there?
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with everything that Damon said there, and yes, a lot does rely on Kemper. The reason that I didn't take them to make it past the second round is mostly because I thought that, probably like most people, that they're going to walk Nashville pretty easily, and St. Louis and Minnesota are both really good teams, really underrated teams. And no matter who wins that one, I do think it's going to be St. Louis, but no matter who wins that one, I don't see Colorado being ready to play a good team after playing a team like Nashville. And I think it's going to be a case of them closing out Nashville really quickly in 4 or 5, as I've put it here, and waiting around for St. Louis or Minnesota. And then they're going to come in there and just not be playoff ready for that. They're going to think, oh man, we're so talented. We walked everybody. And I've seen this through my entire life watching playoff hockey. A powerhouse team takes care of their first round opponent pretty quick, and then they run into a heavy, tight checking good team, and they can't hack it after that. And so yes, that's a little bit more of just the way that I feel about how playoff series go. I don't envy Colorado having to come up against either St. Louis or Minnesota in the next round. And I think if it's St. Louis, it'll be even worse because St. Louis is pretty heavy team. Minnesota is relying a lot on young speed, and if Minnesota takes the series, Colorado has a much better chance to win. But I think against St. Louis, especially, they still got a lot of playoff veterans there that were there for their cup run, and they could really shock them. And Colorado has the same problem as the Leafs, where they are sometimes a really good regular season team and just choke in the playoffs. So, yeah, it's a little bit more with my heart on that one. Just that way, I feel like it's going to go in round 2. But definitely, if Colorado can get past round 2, they could even beat Calgary, which I think is pretty well locked to come out of the Pacific. So,
yeah, I took Calgary over. I think I gave Nashville a bit of credit here. I gave Nashville 2 wins, so I had Colorado coming out in 6, but I actually had Colorado coming out to Minnesota. So I'm going to either be very right or very wrong, because I've got Colorado coming up to take on Minnesota, and then coming out of that series, and then I got the Battle of Alberta coming from the other side. So I think we should shift over to that, because I'm curious. Actually, I want to see what you guys had, just to get a reminder of who you guys took. And this is Damen's. So Damen has the Battle of Alberta coming out as well, and then Eric, you've got the same thing. It was a big surprise. But what do you guys make of?
That's a hope. That's a real hope.
I know.
I would love to see Edmonton Calgary round 2. Oh my god, that would be a war.
If you guys think Toronto's a war, yeah, geez, like that would be a heck of a war.
That's got history. Calgary Edmonton has so much history. That's what's going to make it great.
That's like a Boston Montreal. That's like a Toronto Ottawa, or Toronto.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about? Let's talk about Calgary and Edmonton then. Let's see, even before that series potentially happens. The Oilers stomped the LA Kings last night 6-0, and really a pretty. I don't know. It was weird as the game went on. I'm like, wow, this is really getting out of hand. I'm surprised, because LA had such a. They snuck by them in the first game with that late goal from Philip Deneau, Habs legend. I'm kind of quietly watching Edmonton, not necessarily wanting them to win the cup, but I kind of am. I don't know. Like, I just want to see a Canadian team. Let's just put it that way. And I'm all for. I just don't know how much they can ride Mike Smith. I mean, he could just. It's weird. Playoffs are weird. An older goalie can go on a heater. I don't know. I just love the unpredictability of the playoffs here like that.
Never forget Tim Thomas.
Exactly. I feel like
41 years old, and took Boston right to the championship. So
it's not impossible, right? I just think it'd be a heck of a story for and it would just be absolutely unexpected, unprecedented if Mike Smith were able to help carry the Edmonton Oilers. And I'm impressed by Evander Kane lately too. Like, this guy, Eric, we talked about him. And how this is basically like all or nothing for him. This was his last chance in the NHL, and does it seem like he's really fit into this Oilers team? Because it seems to me like he has.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's hiding. Like, he's almost hiding behind playing so good. Like, the rest of his personal life is just in turmoil constantly. And then you take off to Edmonton and you hide under a pile of snow in the north. And you just play hockey and get away from it all up there. You're not in California. You're not in Vegas. You know what I mean? I think it's really gone to his legs. And he's just focusing on the hockey. And that's always how he's been his best, when he just focuses on the hockey. So, yeah, I mean, Kane can be a good fit anywhere when he's playing good and when he's playing his game. He could fit in on any team because he can bang and he can check and he can score. So, I mean, good on Edmonton for taking that shot on him. And if he steps up what he did in the regular season, if he makes it even better for the playoffs, then I mean, Edmonton's got one more weapon at their disposal, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, 2 goals last night, and he just looks happy to me. Like, he just looks finally like, okay, like I can I can play here. I fit in with this group. I like this group, and it seems to be clicking so far. And then you get to see like Hyman, do his thing, and if he's having a quiet night, Evander Kane can step up. Draisaitl and McDavid, or Draisaitl and McDavid, but and then you just kind of see guys. You just want everyone to chip in at some point. But Damon, do you have any thoughts on Edmonton, or we can even switch over to Calgary, whatever you want?
Yeah, I actually think Edmonton, in my opinion, is a very interesting team, especially with all the bets we did over at Habs Tonight. We do know Nick and Marco. No, not Nick and Marco. I mean, Nick and Shane said that they would buy Mikko Koskinen jerseys, and the biggest of all, Marcos. He said he would shave his head because of the bald power for Mikko Koskinen if they win the cup at Edmonton. Overall, in my opinion, I think that what Ken Holland, I'm going to give him credit for this. He finally gave Edmonton a good third line. because Edmonton was really lacking a decent third line, in my opinion. Which you of course need 4 lines, but now they have the good 3 lines that can challenge teams, and I expect them to win this series against LA, of course, in 7. But I think LA will make it very difficult for them. And also, Kulak's been quietly very good for them, as I'm sure we saw last night. I don't know if you guys saw what Brendan Lemieux was trying to go after Brett Kulak, which was pretty funny to watch. And Edmonton, I really like the way they're built for the most part. But this summer, if they don't get a new goalie, I'm honestly going to question what Ken Holland is on, or if he needs to get checked.
I agree with that. But I've been questioning that for years. The same question. Some of the moves, man, I don't know.
$9 million for Nurse. The guys were $7 million, in my opinion.
If that, I mean, Cale Makar's getting $9 million. Like,
he's a superstar.
It's not even comparable.
Bonafide superstar.
Yeah. His goal the other night was I had to go clean up. I don't know you want to read into that too much. I spilled my beer. We'll say that.
Oh, well,
even though I don't drink.
There's that. I was going to say, hang on a minute. It was a rare occasion for you then. So you guys so we all pretty well have Calgary coming out of the West. So I think that's pretty well the consensus here. This is my bracket once again. I've got Florida coming out of the East. So I want to go back to your guys' brackets for a second. Eric's got Toronto coming out of the East, and Damen, you've also got Florida coming out of the East. So, just in terms of surprises, let's go through surprises and upsets and really get a good grip on, as we have Damen's bracket up here, let's get a good grip on who you guys think maybe you could be wrong about, or if you want to stick with your picks. I mean, we can go through them once again here. This is mine, and I think I could be very well wrong about Minnesota St. Louis. I don't think that's a surprise. I think St. Louis, I probably wanted to pick them, but I took the Marc-Andre Fleury side of things for some reason. Don't ask me why, but I did. And I think, what about the Rangers? Like, could the Rangers make a bit more noise? I mean, who would be a team? Carolina, some people are taking. Like, is there anybody that jumps out at you guys that comes to mind here? Whether you pick them in their bracket or not.
It should be Carolina, but without Anderson.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's hard, man. Third stringer coming in last night.
But then again,
Chekhov or something his name was. I remember he was a goalie.
It's a Russian name.
2019, I think I should say, World Juniors.
Yeah, and he drew Marchand into doing something stupid, which was impressive. Yeah. I always like to see that because not a big Boston fan, right? None of us are, I assume.
Yeah, we can agree on that in Philly, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I literally have a vendetta against Boston. My history teacher was a big Boston fan, and we'd go out at each time in a history class about hockey.
Well, there you got your motivations there. So Carolina, I think, could be, but the goaltending thing, they might just run out of some, magic there, maybe, right?
They're up good now, but it's hard to win in Boston. And I can tell you this from Toronto playing Boston for many series.
Do you have any experience?
Playoffs, very hard to win in Boston. So if Boston can steal a Carolina home game, then I don't know. I think they could easily lose to Boston. Although Boston's not the team they used to be. There's no Tuukka Rask. There's no Zdeno Chara.
No Lucic.
Lucic.
No Sean Thornton.
Yeah. So it's not. And the perfection line isn't what it once was. That being said, it's really hard to win in Boston. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Their experience, there's something in their DNA, right? That's just how they are. It's just built into them. That
building goes right to their legs. Like, they're just never out of a game in that building. It's almost magic to watch it every time it happens.
It's impressive. I will say it is impressive what they've done, despite being on the losing end of it too, as a Montreal fan sometimes, except for 2014. Shout out to our boy DeLuise. Yeah. But that was just a fun series. And I mean, it would be pretty cool to see Toronto and Boston go at it in the second or third round. And
third conference final. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, like for the sake of my Leaf fan friends, because I don't hate the Leafs, I think I just want to see you guys happy. Like, I actually want to see my friends happy. But yeah, you know what? Like, it's interesting, man. Like, like I've said before, I love the unpredictability. I think the Rangers, I mean, if Shesterkin gets hot again, because he was hot all season, really, could Shesterkin take the Rangers all the way? That's my next question.
He's a good goalie.
Yeah.
I'll let Damen weigh in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's a good goalie, and honestly, this is one hot take. I wouldn't be surprised in a few years if Shesterkin somehow overtakes Vasilevsky's starting duties for the Russian national team. That's just a hot take I'm going to throw out there for the fun of it. And see,
I don't think it's that surprising, but yeah, at least based on this year, right? At least based on
Vasilevsky's
he's been really good.
Still young, but Shesterkin is an up and comer, and he could definitely do that. I agree.
Yeah, because like here's my opinion with the Rangers. I definitely think they have talent all around. They're a well-rounded team, but my hope with the Rangers is that I've been begging this for so long. Play Alexis Lafreniere more than 13, 14 minutes a night.
You think that'll
he
make
looked
the
that
difference?
good out there when I saw him today, and I'm just hoping that Gerard Gallant will give him more playing time, or he gets traded to a team that'll give him 15 minutes a night or something, or 20.
Yeah, I wish he would get more time too during the regular season, because I've had him in my pool for a couple seasons now, or just can't do. Or has it been a couple seasons, or is this his first season?
Second season.
Second season. I thought so. Yeah. I picked him right out of the gate, and he just hasn't done well for me in fantasy, unfortunately. But
so not a fantasy beast, eh?
No.
Yeah, apparently his advanced stats are really good. Alexis Lafreniere. I'm pretty sure he leads the Rangers in goals per 60 at 5-on-5, but doesn't have a power play goalie yet. But with those stats, it just goes to show how talented he is, but how little he's playing. And I'd like to see him more on the power play instead of Dryden Hunt.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to talk to you guys. Oh, do you have something on there?
Sorry, I was just going to add to that. That is like, if you got a good, talented young player like that, like that's how you get him confidence. You want to inject confidence in his leg, put him out there on the power play, let him get a few power play assists and goals, start building some points, building some momentum, and then you'll get the superstar you want out of a first round or first overall.
Good thoughts. I like that. I'm just really curious about the Rangers and see what they can do. Back to my bracket here. So the Florida Panthers. So I want to kind of not end on this, but sort of, I guess. The Florida Panthers have high expectations, haven't won a playoff series themselves since 1996 when they last went to the Cup against Colorado. So some people are predicting a Colorado-Florida Stanley Cup rematch from 96, I think. And I don't think that's crazy out of reach. I think it's going to be a harder path for Colorado. But in terms of Florida and just, all the additions they made with Ben Sherratt, Claude Giroux, and really just over the last few years, adding guys like Sam Reinhart and, you got Barkov and Huberdeau leading the way for them. You've got Sam Bennett. Like you just got a lot of great pieces to this team. I don't even know if I mentioned Ben Sherratt on the back end.
You did, yeah.
I did. Okay. And then Ekblad, is he? Someone help me out. Is he playing?
He's in the lineup. Yeah.
Okay. So I was like,
just got back.
Okay. Thank you. That's why I was like, I am drawing a blank. I'm not even certain if he's played yet.
He's probably playing through injury.
Yeah, like it's one of those, right? Okay. So what do you guys think the expectations are and the pressure level is for the Florida Panthers based on the amount of additions and just the stacking that they did the last couple of years here?
You want to go ahead, Damen?
I was going to say, in my opinion, I think the players, of course, will put pressure on themselves to do the well. And I do know the hockey world and hockey fans will put pressure on them because they haven't won a playoff series in a while. And this is literally their shot. And Bill Zito's going full on in on this year. Mm-hmm. But their fans, I'm not sure the fans in Florida, if they can get very many actually down there.
It's the fullest the barn has been so far.
Yeah, it's the fullest it's been. So I'm not sure that the fans will put much pressure on them, but I do think the hockey world and those of us who know that this is Florida's chance will kind of put the pressure on them. But with Florida, they're definitely the players are definitely putting a lot of pressure on themselves to be the best they can be and try to get to the Cup Finals or get a trophy at least this year.
Yeah, some years back we went on a road trip to Florida, and we went down there because the Leafs were down there playing both Florida and Tampa, and we wanted to go see both those games. So we drove down for the week, and we decided we were going to get tickets in Florida from a scalper, and we got 4 tickets in box seats, like private box seats, for $50 each. And
wow.
Yeah, and actually, when the guy came up, and because being a Toronto fan and going up to Toronto cost me $800 for a ticket, this guy comes up, he's like, yeah, $50 each box seats, and we were like, yeah, what are you trying to scam us with this piece of paper? Like, but then we thought, well, we're only out $50 if he's a scammer, but it was totally legit, $50 each, and we walked in there, and Brian and I were in our total blue suits, so you couldn't see our faces. I can't remember the name of what they're called. Morph suits, they used to call them, and jerseys, and we had like blue mohawks, like real fans. And literally all these rich people that live down in that area, they don't even have Florida Panthers jerseys on. They're coming out like it's a night at the opera, and they're taking pictures with us like they'd never seen real hockey fans before. It was insane. So yeah, getting fans in the building is a big thing for them. Getting the Rats back out on the ice is a good thing. But for Florida, I think they'll definitely win the first round. I think they'll beat Washington. As heavy as Washington is, I think that they can handle them. But again, it's the curse. It's the curse of the President's Trophy. The top team in the league doesn't always do well in the playoffs, and they don't have that a lot of playoff experience. They just, I mean, to me, the best player on that roster is probably Sam Bennett. I mean, obviously Barkov has way more skill. Huberdeau's got, huge skill. Ekblad on the back end, massive skill. A lot of really good skilled guys who can score. I totally agree with that. But as far as the guy you want in the playoffs, I mean, Calgary's got to be kicking themselves right now for letting go of Sam Bennett. With the run that they're about to make and having Sutter as the head coach, Bennett's totally a kind of guy in the playoffs that Sutter would want. And I think that, if he plays the way he's been playing all year, he could definitely put that team on his back and get him a few rounds. But I don't know. I think when it gets down the line further, I think if either Toronto or Tampa wins, could easily beat them in the second round, unless Bobrovsky stands on his head or something. But I think that both of those teams are too heavy for them.
We'll get Damen back in a second, but I think I'm curious to see how they respond to the most. I don't know if adversity is the right word. Maybe adversity is the right word. Let's see who this Florida team is. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Like when they actually face a opponent like Toronto or Tampa in the next round, like that's going to be an even greater test for them. And we'll see how Washington does. I mean, like maybe they'll push. Maybe they'll somehow, some way push them to 7.
They'll give them some trouble. But you know what I'm reminded of with this Florida Panthers team, and the whole thing reminds me of the New York Islanders a few years ago when they hadn't won a series for however many years it was, like 15 years or something like that. It was ridiculous how long their series drought was. And Tavares put the team on his back, and he got that wraparound goal in the Game 7 overtime to eliminate whoever they were playing. And they got their series, and they had all the hype, and they let it sort of, oh, thank God we got our series. And then the next series, they didn't even show up. They didn't have a chance. And after having such a great season and everything and being well built and all that, just the same way that Florida is now, they were out the second round, and because they got their series and they thought that was the pinnacle, right? And the same thing could happen to Toronto if Toronto beats Tampa. What I was talking about earlier, it could go the other way. It could easily swing the other way and say, we won the series, we got the monkey off our back, now we don't have to play anymore. Especially if Florida looks a little soft against them. They might underestimate. I think Florida definitely has a better chance against Toronto than they do against Tampa in a second round. But I don't think that they can beat either of those teams after a round with Washington.
Interesting. Well, one team I think I actually want to finish on this team, and we all picked them except for Damen actually didn't pick them. He picked Colorado. So you and I both picked Calgary to go all the way from the West. And we haven't had a chance to talk about Calgary. I think that's the team I'd like to finish off on, because I think you and I even talked I think it was one of our first episodes on Dekes and Vacca here, where you felt like right now Calgary's just built. They've got it. Like they look like they can go all the way. So do you still maintain that thought right now based on your bracket? That seems to be seems to be what you think.
Oh, totally. And you know what? They said something interesting on the broadcast, Sportsnet broadcast the other night, where he was talking about how Sutter has that same look in his eye that he had when he went on his runs with LA. And
Welcome back, Damon.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Yeah, I think that if there's anybody you want coaching your team in the playoffs, that's the guy you want coaching your team in the playoffs. And everybody that's played on Calgary, save for Sean Monahan because of some injuries, has played better under him. And if Markstrom, who's in my opinion one of the best goalies in the league, can be one of the best goalies in the league, I don't see how any team could beat them, save for maybe Colorado. But Colorado still has to make it through the second round before that's going to happen. So, I think Calgary's I think they'll pretty handily beat the Pacific teams, and whether it's Colorado, St. Louis, or Minnesota, St. Louis and Minnesota, Calgary can definitely beat. Colorado might be a little bit harder, but I still think they have them out goaltended, and they can just, I mean, you take a look at when Sutter was coaching LA, how many high-powered, high-scoring Colorado-style teams that he just smothered and destroyed. And I mean, yes, you don't have Drew Doughty back there, but that's it for LA. But Calgary still has good pieces to be able to play defensively well. So I think that what he's done with the team has really built them for playoff success, and they'll be a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Any thoughts on? We're just talking about Calgary, Damon. If you want to chime in on just what your expectations are. I mean, I know we looked at our brackets, and you have Colorado going all the way, but so if that's the case, Damon, what do you think Calgary's biggest challenge would be to get to the final, where a lot of folks expect they will go?
I think the biggest challenge for them is definitely to get past Colorado. If Colorado ends up making it to the conference finals, which I expect them to do with so, but it's definitely going to be the biggest challenge in my mind, because Calgary has a very good team, well-rounded. They have one of the best goalies and one of the hottest goalies in the NHL right now in Jacob Markstrom. They have Elias Lindholm, who somehow reinvented himself as a number one center, even though I'm pretty sure he started out as a winger in his NHL career.
Yeah.
And also the defense is playing really well. And Eric Branson, I remembered some of my friends who were Sens fans had a nickname for him, Eric Bad Branson. He's playing really well in the third pair, and I really liked what Calgary's done this year. And I honestly was wondering if Brad Treliving would be let go after this year and they'd look for a new GM. But honestly, looking back at this, he's done a really good job, and especially Mikael Backlund has done really well for Calgary, in my opinion, and Tyler Toffoli and Blake Coleman as well.
Yeah, definitely want to see Toffoli succeed. Of course, I mean, like he's already won a Stanley Cup. I think I got him right here in the reverse retro. There's Toffoli right here.
Wish we saw those jerseys this year.
Yeah, I know. Like I wanted to have the fans get an opportunity to go see a game in the reverse retros, but
I like the colors. I mean, most of the colors.
Yeah, like it's different, right? I mean, if I go to a solo layout, yeah, I know. I see where you're going with there. But if you just look at like, it's just different. I don't know. I just think it's cool.
They're much better than Toronto's reverse retros. Toronto's reverse retros were not good.
I know you guys weren't big fans. Was it the gray?
It was blue and gray.
They're black ones that the Bieber ones were fine. They were okay. I don't mind those.
No. Don't even get me started on that.
Okay, I won't.
Apparently, Bieber might even be considered in a consortium that buys the Sens.
I heard that, yeah, but I don't know how you can call yourself a Leaf fan if you buy the Sens.
Exactly. I don't know if he's
just going to buy the Sens.
Money.
What is he talking about?
Is he just going to give them like no money and then say, okay, so let's make sure the Leafs beat you each time or something? I wouldn't be surprised by that.
That makes no sense. That's like Drake. That's like Drake buying the New York Knicks. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great analogy. That's a perfect analogy for that.
Why would he do that?
Yeah,
you got literally box seats to every Leaf game, and you're gonna buy
their biggest rival. That's
I don't have much respect for the guy as it is, but I would go lower if that was the case.
Yeah. I was even gonna say, I don't know if you guys heard about the Chelsea FC, that soccer team that Roman Abramovich owns. Wait, a Manchester United fan, Conor McGregor, was looking into buying them, but he realized it was worth more than he had.
What a concept. He didn't have enough. Sorry, Connor. Yeah. Okay, so
McGregor.
here's what I'm going to do. So we'll put up our bracket so we can get one last shot of each of them. This is Damon's. So Damon has a predicted Stanley Cup final of Florida, Colorado. Myself, I have Florida and Calgary. And then Eric has the very bold all-Canadian Stanley Cup final, Toronto and Calgary. So guys, remember these picks because we will revisit them.
I'll make the conspiracy theorists out there really happy right now and be like, well, Batman, there's no way he'll let 2 Canadian teams play for the cup.
Don Cherry has said that before.
I know, and so many people have said that before. It's just
like for a guaranteed cup to come to Canada would be pretty wicked, but it's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
A lot of it's with my heart, like I said.
Yeah, and I like that.
Cup.
Yeah.
I'd love to see an all Canadian Cup final again one day. It's something we haven't seen in so long. Definitely not in my lifetime I've seen it, but it would be so nice to see again in the future.
I think once Montreal rebuilds their team, we could, depending on how Toronto's core is, and once Ottawa finally gets it together with their rebuild, Winnipeg, who knows? But I just think that it's possible. Vancouver, like a Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Toronto, Edmonton, who everyone would love to see. But
Vancouver, I think you'll see in the playoffs soon. I don't think you'll see Winnipeg in the playoffs for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
I think that they're on the verge of blowing it up.
It looks that way with Scheifele just straight up coming out.
Their core just isn't going to do it anymore. They had a chance to make it work with Laine with that core, and they couldn't do that, and it's all fallen apart since then. So,
yeah.
But you still have one of the best goaltenders in the world in Hellebuck, so you never know. But I mean,
yeah. I was going to say, I'd love to see Jesse Pollock's reaction to them blowing it up.
Oh yeah.
I would love to. It'd be pretty crazy to see like a guy like Hellebuck go to Edmonton, though, wouldn't it? Like, because people keep talking about getting Carey Price in there.
Hellebuck goes to Edmonton. Watch out.
Like,
but I highly doubt that. Yeah. Not a lot of teams would trade their marquee goalie to a divisional rival, or I guess they're not divisional, but
Edmonton just needs a goalie.
Conference.
If Mike Smith, like, I mean, it's not like Mike Smith's going on several runs. If Edmonton goes on a magical run. Koskinen and Smith, like they have to take somebody.
They got Smith because they wanted him to mentor Koskinen and get Koskinen to where he needs to be a starter. But I don't know. I don't know if Koskinen has that talent. Like he looked good in his first year, but I don't know. It's just so inconsistent.
I think he needs one good playoff series at least to build on, though, right? He's going to need at least one. He's not going to get it this year, like most likely.
But it's not just playoffs. You got to do it during the regular season too, because Smith is going to retire eventually. And if they've got to bring in another marquee goaltender, you're relegated to backup duties for probably the rest of your career. I mean, I just don't see how you can break through. If you're not ready by the time Smith is done, you're back up. That's how it's going to go.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting either way. And it's just going to be fun, hopefully, to see a Canadian team go far, depending on whatever your bias is, But I hope the best for you, Eric. I mean, I got to say, like, I really like this series. This matchup is this matchup's way more entertaining, probably also because it's full buildings. Like Montreal, Toronto got shortchanged by not having fans in the building last year.
Yeah, it sucked.
Like that just wasn't the same. Like it was fun to win and everything, but it wasn't the same.
It should have been so much more crazy than it was.
That's what I mean. Like I feel like if Montreal can get the rebuild done in a 3 to 4 year window, maybe even 2 to 3 years, if we somehow get both either Shane Wright, Logan Cooley, and then get Connor Bedard. Okay, the rebuild's going to be done in 2-3 years.
Or Mitchkov or Fantilli as well.
Or Fantilli. I mean, both draft classes, top 3 to 5 are big names. So
you got to watch out for Ottawa too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I just want to see
building well.
Teams.
Yeah. They have the players in Ottawa, but they just need to wait for actually to the players develop.
They've been patient. Ottawa's been patient, and I think that their patience should be rewarded.
Right when Montreal is getting there, Ottawa should be getting there as well, and
Vancouver maybe.
Teams like Toronto, Tampa, and Florida, we're gonna have to watch out because when Montreal and Ottawa get it cleaned up because they're doing really well with their rebuild so far. They're going to be a force, and the Atlantic is going to be a wagon for a lot of years.
Hopefully it just makes for more fun hockey all around for all of our teams, for all the Canadian teams.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's going to get faster, more skilled, and that's the way the direction of the game's going. So I'm excited.
That's why they need to go back to the 1 versus 8 format in the conference, so we can have all the Atlantic teams playing, and the Metro can just go golfing.
I think they will. I think they have to go back to that. I don't know.
I hope so.
I really
Bettman
think so.
said he doesn't plan on changing it anytime soon, but we do know about Alan. I think Alan Walsh is the one who reported this, that owners and players are getting frustrated with Bettman, and they might look for a new commissioner eventually, as Don Fear is on his way out right now, as I'm sure we know.
Mhm.
I don't think Bettman is going to have too much longer of a stay as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that
It's hard to know.
There's some things that the shootout's got to go as well. I mean, I don't want to get too off topic, but yeah,
It's going to get it's up for discussion
go.
though. It will be
Yeah.
talked about. It's been reported by Pierre LeBrun. So
Yep.
it's not saying it's going to change next year maybe, but after next year, it's got to seriously be considered to extend the 3-on-3.
Oh, yeah. 10 minutes,
You know.
3-on-3. You got to go 10 minutes, 3-on-3.
It's like somebody's scoring, guys. Like everyone's gassed in the first 5 minutes.
There's-
Like
yeah.
someone's scoring in 10 minutes, right?
Not only that, but can you imagine the 8th minute of 3-on-3 when you've got your 3rd and 4th lines out there playing 3-on-3 against
There
each
you
other?
go.
It's gonna be wild. Like,
There
how
you
do you
go.
not want to do that? Dallas is up 1-0, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Wicked. Let's go Stars. And
No.
who's
Stars
Dallas
are
playing
Cav.
again? Oh yeah, it's Calgary.
1-1.
So who knows? But yeah, I mean, we just like eliminated Dallas from any possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's in theory Calgary should win. They should.
If Dallas beat Calgary, that would probably be the biggest upset of the playoffs.
It would
easily,
be.
easily.
Like I could say that maybe Nashville beating Colorado would be the biggest upset because that would be really huge too. But man, Dallas should not even be in there. Vegas should be in there. But
Yeah.
They
Crazy,
put all their
right?
eggs in that LTIR basket and blew up in their face.
yeah, it kind of screwed them for their season. Yeah, 100%.
And on that note, I can't wait to see the Sabres honestly back in the playoffs. I know it's not Canadian related, but they are a young, fast, fun team too. Like they are looking good. I am excited for the Sabres and their fans as well. So after all the years of pain they've gone through, getting over the Jack Eichel drama, and then obviously cheering on the fact that Vegas didn't get in. Like
Detroit's on the way up too. I'm telling you, if they go back to
There you
1-8,
go.
it's going to be all Atlantic.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's going to be fun. Okay, on that note, boys, this has been fun. So I will say thank you to each of you, and hopefully, like I said, we can revisit these brackets and actually see how we're doing. Maybe we can do we'll attempt a round by round analysis, maybe if we're able, or whenever we can get to it. Right. So
Let's come back next week after round 1's over and just see how we did.
might take a while might be that week after because some of these series might go pretty far.
Most
Yeah.
game 7s are scheduled for Wednesday or Thursday next week. So
Are they okay? Well, then I'm okay with that.
yeah,
So let's do that.
By the end of next week, we'll know pretty well who's winning.
Beautiful. All right, folks. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you, boys, for jumping on. And if you like the show, you know what to do. You know what buttons to push. So we'll see you again, folks.
Great to meet you, Damon.
Nice to meet you, Eric.
And thanks for watching, folks. Cheers.
Jelly roll time.